video, I'm going to run through a bunch of new knitting products that have come out recently. People always ask me, have you tried this? Have you tried that? And it seems like there has been an explosion of new knitting products, new, really interesting, different things. And so I wanted to give them a try, put them all in a couple of videos. So this is part one. We have a second video with little things. This is going to be the video of the large products, a second video of little things coming up next week. And depending on when you're watching it, if that video is already out, I will put a link to it. Just click the little eye in the upper right hand corner. And for the most part, I will list in the video description field like where you can find these, you know, a link to Amazon or whatever. But if you are a local yarn shop owner or you have a favorite local yarn shop where these are being sold, feel free to leave a link in the comments and I will approve those comments because YouTube is going to bump them out as spam. But I'll approve them and we can support our local yarn shops that way. So first, to get started with the product roundup, are these blocking mats by Knit IQ. And people ask me all the time, where can I get blocking boards like yours? Because I have these sturdy, big blocking boards that are made by tabletop companies with the canvas grid on them. No one's making these blocking boards anymore. This is where it's at now. This is the only product similar to these. Now, I've been using these blocking mats for a couple of projects. I am really impressed. I am so impressed that I think that in a lot of ways, they're easier to use than these big blocking mats. This is actually a tiny blocking mat. The one I have at home is huge for a sweater. So let's take a look. These are $35, and the link that I had to get these was from Amazon, but I know that they're sold in other places. So they are these foam mats that fit together with a grid on them, and after you've finished washing and squeezing out the excess water from whatever you've knit, you can set them out flat to dry and you can pin into these. And if you prefer steam blocking, you can actually use a little bit of steam. I would not press down with the iron on these, but you can blast steam into your work and it's safe on this surface. The nice thing about these, the reason that I really enjoyed these, a couple of reasons. One is silly. The pins go in really easily. And it's self-healing material, so you don't see the pinholes after a while. But in the blocking boards that I'm used to using, it's a little bit more work to get the pin in. I mean, I'm not a weakling. I can handle getting the pins into a blocking board, but it felt so easy and nice into these foam mats. The other thing is that you can make any shape that you need. With my regular blocking board, sometimes the blocking board isn't long enough for a long scarf or a shawl, or because I have long arms, my sleeves actually hang off the edges. When I was blocking a sweater with these, I was able to create the exact shape that I needed just by popping them together, and I didn't need to have the huge blocking board with all the wasted space. I just had exactly what I needed. Now the downside, really not huge downsides, but a couple of downsides that I see is if you're putting these together on a carpeted floor, you have to really pay attention that you're getting it flat because the carpet's going to squish and these are kind of squishy and you can end up with an edge that is not quite even. And if you're drawing your knits on something that's not quite even, it's going to put, you know, kinks in your knitting and it's not going to look good. So on a carpeted floor, really make sure that you're popping them together evenly. And my only other complaint, not even really a complaint, but I was disappointed because when I was putting mine together for a sweater, I wanted to put them together like this, and they won't go together like this. The corner pieces won't let that happen. You can only put them together like this. Not a huge thing, but they also come in this very handy case and they weigh almost nothing. And you can see here that there are a packet of T-pins. They come with pins as well. So these are by Knit IQ blocking mats with a grid on them. I give these a thumbs up. I'm quite impressed with them. And next I have some magnetic pattern holders from Knitter's Pride. And you know, Knitter's Pride sponsors a lot of my videos and they send me a lot of stuff to use for giveaways and stuff. So I have my connection at Knitter's Pride and she sent me these pattern holders and I got back to her and I said, is it normal for me to be so excited about these pattern holders? And she said, I am too, they're really exciting. So there's a whole page pattern holder. This is the big one. This is actually the one that I'm using for my project right now. And then we have this little one that I'm going to show you. I'm going to open it up and demonstrate with this one. So it's a little book. You snap it open, and on One side we have a little loop that holds a pen, a little expanding pocket, and that's kind of everything that's over here. I don't really think there's much room to put anything in here, but if you need to hold something little, that's what that's there for. And then you can snap this thing together so that it holds itself up. And this side is a magnet board, and it is a really strong magnet board. It comes with 3 little magnets and a long magnet, and you can see it's really strong. So you can put your pattern on here and use the little magnets to hold it down, and then you have this big long magnet that makes it ideal for chart reading, because this, you can slide this up as you finish rows of your chart, and it helps your eye just focus exactly where it needs to be as you read across in your chart. So for me, I'm using this, and I have this on the end table. I'm sitting and knitting and watching my movie, and all I have to do is glance over at the end table, at my pattern holder, and this is showing me exactly where my eyes need to be to follow the pattern. Really nice. And then this is the half page one, so your page would fold in half. Whoops, neater than that. Your page would fold in half, and then you can, I just did it again. It doesn't need to stick out like that. It's big enough to hold a half page. And then you can snap it together and put it in your knitting bag. I think these are great. Like I said, I'm pretty excited about these. And the next thing we have is, the Vogue Ultimate Knitting Book. The Ultimate Knitting Book by Vogue Knitting. And they just put out a new edition, and this is a great knitting book. It is beautiful inside. It's basically a coffee table book because it's so nice. Beautiful inside with color photos and illustrations, and pretty much here to answer all your knitting questions. Of course, I recommend that you go to YouTube to get your knitting questions answered, but just in case you're camping or something, you need to have a book. But the real reason that I'm recommending this book, new and updated, the thing that I'm most excited about with this book is people ask me all the time, Stacy, can you do a video series on designing a sweater? And I've never done it before because there are so many variables in sweater design that I know that I'm going to end up creating more questions than I answer. And my new job will be answering questions on that video series. I won't be able to have time to do anything else. So I've avoided it up to this point, but this book has an excellent section on designing your own sweater. So if that's something that you're interested in doing, I think it's worth the cost. This is a $39.95 book in the US, $53.95 in Canada. Well worth the money, the kind of book that you're going to have for forever and refer to all the time. It's an amazing book, new and updated. And the last thing I have in this video is this exciting thing. This is a, oops, it's kind of falling apart. This is not falling apart, it's collapsing. Excuse me, a knitter's backpack. And I saw this on Instagram a few times, and I was like, I gotta get my hands on one of these. This is pretty exciting. It's really simple. It is a canvas backpack with canvas straps and a leather loop. And when you look inside, there is nothing. It's just kind of just a sack. And that's the point of it. There are no zippers, there is no Velcro. It is essentially a big yarn bowl that holds your knitting. And the reason that I'm excited about this is because this is my favorite knitting bag. This is my field bag from Fringe Supply Company. And the reason I love this bag is it is essentially a knitting bowl. And nothing is, my yarn comes out easily while I'm working, and I don't have to dig around for anything, so it's all right there and open. And this is like a bigger version of the reasons that I'm excited about my field bag. So it's designed to always be open like this, even if you have it sitting next to you and knitting with your friends, or if you're wearing it. It still has the gap there for your yarn to flow freely while you're knitting with it, if you're wearing it as a shoulder bag or as a backpack. Really high quality, really nice. I ordered mine from Ritual Dyes, and I will give you a link to where I found mine. It comes in different colors, a gorgeous bag. Anyway, let me just double check. Yes, Those are all the big products that I have to show you about things people have asked me about or things I've spied on Instagram. Next week I'll have another video much like this one, but with tiny little things, and we'll use the up-close camera for that. Good luck.